Well, we are back home in Florida, still waiting on some parts for the Fummins build, so we're going to take this time to get the Miata back in tip-top shape. So if you didn't see the drift event video, we went to the Klutch Kickers 100K Drift Series, 20K payout each round. Awesome, epic event, lots of fun battles. We ended up taking home second and $5 grand. Cannot complain about that, but the car did get a little beat up. There was some stuff that I wish I could have fixed beforehand, like the steering issue and all that, but we also took a pretty hard hit in the rear.
Miatas, they come right, hit horsepower, music tower, contact.
Busted the taillight, really messed up the exhaust. It cracked it here where I have this reducer from 4 to 3 inch, and it bent this 90 further, so we gotta fix that. Got some front steering stuff to fix, some changes to make, try to make this thing a little more competitive. I'm thinking we're gonna stick with manual steering. If you didn't see the video, basically I have this electric steering column. It was just not working out. The feel was horrible. I couldn't get comfortable in the car. I was fumbling my way through the track. Finally ended up taking the motor out of the column, running it as just manual steering, and I mean, like a light switch, way better, and ended up taking, I went from barely being able to put a qualifying lap together to taking home second, being super comfortable in the car again. So since that has been a reoccurring issue for me, I think we might stay with manual steering, but we gotta make some changes in order to optimize the steering setup. There's a lot to do. I won't go too crazy into detail. We had a bushing split back here. I put these poly bushings in, and this one split apart on me, so the diff's kind of flopping around. We gotta fix that. Rear bushing change, held up pretty good though. No issues there. You see how dead our tires were. We had it one more time on the last battle, and I thought the tires were good, so I didn't change them, and yeah, this is how they were by the end of the lap, thing with ice skating. So anyway, trying to figure out what to tackle first. I guess we'll pull the exhaust off and see if we can fix it with what we got. This is crushed in more. You can kind of see how narrow it is compared to this. And it, you know, it was obviously a mandrel bend. And then here, luckily it ripped right at the weld, or right after the weld, kind of on both sides. But we should be able to salvage this piece, this 3 to 4 inch reducer, which is good because these are expensive. And this 4-inch 45 was like as expensive as the rest of the back half of the exhaust. So definitely glad we can salvage that. So yeah, we just gotta start cutting this stuff apart, try to make something out of it. Only built 2 exhausts, but somehow I wound up with a bunch of leftover material. Can't complain about that. This guy, I don't really want to waste that for a 90, but do I have another 90? Okay, so here's my rough game plan of the exhaust build. I've decided to put a flex joint on the part that goes from left to right, because basically it goes left to right and then back out the back. So put a flex joint there, so that way, if my exhaust gets hit this way or this way, that flex joint can take a lot of that flex. So instead of bending and cracking stuff, hopefully it'll just flex. We have a hanger here and another one there if we need it. So we should be able to keep the exhaust tip pretty sturdy, not move it around a bunch, but while allowing it to flex. So I think that is going to be the best option. I'm going to try to reuse this 90 off my exhaust. This is what I had before coming out, the 3-inch. And yeah, just trying to save this piece. This is a nice 180 that I'll use for something else. And then hopefully we can clean this up enough to weld it back on. That's the plan. Let's get to it. So this is always tough. Need to tack this, but there's not really a good way to hold it, and I really need two hands to tack it. I might be able to get one here. All right, well, doing a burst tack worked out, so we're good. We get a tack on this side before it pulls too much. The wind is really not helping anything. Like right as I go to weld, the wind blows. All right, just a quick test fit and mark. Luckily, this isn't super crucial because this can rotate, so even if we weld it off this way or this way, we can just rotate it and make it fit. But obviously, we want to try to get everything sorted out beforehand. Should work. All right, one more test fit. So as you can see, my exhaust has done a good bit of melting to my bumper already. And where I've got it all tacked up now, it's gonna sit really close up here, which I want it to, because when the further it sticks out, the higher the likelihood is of it getting hit. So I'm gonna put some gold reflective stuff up here. Might look a little tacky, but we'll try to keep it clean. And yeah, so we've got the exhaust tacked up. I've just got to weld it out and then do the hangers. I usually like to weld it out first just in case anything shifts around, and I don't know, that's just my preference. So let's get to welding. Success. All right, got it all welded out. Actually came out pretty decent for how big of gaps there were and all that stuff, especially this joint. The gaps weren't too big on it, so came out pretty okay. So yeah, now we just need to fit it back up in there and start tacking our hanger on. I think I'm gonna try to do two. So we have this one left over from that I cut off of here. So we'll use that, and I think we'll try to make one more off of that just to keep it as sturdy as possible. Let's get to it. All right, we got that hanger tacked in place. When I went to the metal supply store a while back, I got 4 feet of this stainless rod, which is perfect for making exhaust hangers. So I'm gonna build a short one for back there. So we've got this one here. We're gonna just make another little one to go from there to there. Just the more hangers you can put on, the better off you're gonna be, the more support your exhaust is gonna have. So should be a really simple little hanger. So I'm gonna start cutting this up and welding it together to make one. All right, here's a little hanger I made. So I welded just a thick bead on the end to give it something to grab onto in the hanger, cut it, made it a 90, donezo. So we just gotta wait till it cools down, throw it up there, tack it to the exhaust, pull the exhaust out, weld the hangers, and then we can move on to another project. Oh, and we gotta put the reflective tape up there too. But the tip looks better like this. This is actually something I wanted to do anyway, is shorten it up some, because basically I wanted to shorten this leg up, because before it was kind of like stuck out. There's a pretty big gap. So now it's like 45 comes out right kind of with the bumper, which is what I wanted. So that's good. I hope that stuff will keep me from melting the hell out of the rear bumper.
Don't have to worry about it later.
Yeah.
Can't forget it.
All right, I got my hangers welded on, all done up, ready to go. There's the other one. So yeah, it's time to just sew it back in, and oh, reflective tape. I almost forgot, let's do that. Back in action. Just barely sticking out now. It always does end up a little too far to the left. Oh, we can tuck it up higher. That's right. Let me do that. All right, we got it a little more centered. The gold is a little off because it's going kind of straight up with the lines of the bumper. And the exhaust is more straight with the car. If that makes any sense. It would look kind of weird to have made it crooked, but should protect us a little bit, hopefully, because we are touching right here. I just want to keep it tucked as tight as I can. But this is the end result. Got hanger number 1, hanger number 2, hanger number 3. So we got plenty of hangers back here. Got our flex joint now, so like I said, if we get hit, it should hold up to a decent hit. The problem is before, there's nowhere really for it to flex back here, so if it got hit, it just cracked. So I think now that this should save us from breaking it as much. All right, now that we're done with that, might as well, while we got the fab stuff out and ready, move on to the next fab project. I was loading my car on the trailer before taking it down to AJ, and the ramp slipped out and landed right on the radiator bracket. And then trying to get the car off, it slid back and bent it. Definitely kind of a vulnerable point up here with how big the radiator is and how kind of low it is. So I'm gonna build a really heavy duty mount for this. So if that ever happens again, or we ever hit something, land on something, whatever, it should protect the radiator. So I'm gonna pull the fans off, unbolt this, try to slide it forward enough to get these down braces off, and then we can start making our new mount. All right, we got it slid away just enough to get to our bolts. Oh, okay, there's one. It's weird working on a car on a ladder. We gotta bolt it in at the top. That way, you know, we don't make our mount with it off and then we won't line up with the top mounts again. So if that was on, we should be able to take this out. We'll probably leave it just to be safe, but supporting itself. All right, now to make a new mount. All right, so we need 2 pieces that are 9 inches to the inside of the 45, which, yeah, it's perfect. I might have to cut this on a chop saw, but we're gonna try it. One down, 2 to go. Look at that, beautifully matching. Now we just need to do the long run. Perfect. So basically, this is my plan for the design. Oh, backwards. Just like that. And then we'll build a little tab off of here using this flat bar to weld, drill holes, riv nut, all that good stuff. We're gonna make sure this bar looks like it's gonna work width-wise. I measured it. Then if it does, we'll start tacking. Literally perfect. All right, that's our basic shape. It's honestly super light. Like it probably only weighs 4 or 5 pounds. It's pretty thin wall tubing, so let's go try it out. Nice and tight. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Literally perfect. Sweet. All right, time to weld this bad boy out. At least this part of it. We'll still have to add the legs, but it'll be easier to weld it out without them. Well, those came out pretty nice. We're just running right through it. So now we've got this welded up, we'll check it one more time, and then we'll start building our legs for our bolt holes. So it did pull a little bit, but I mean, it fits like a glove. It's just sitting up there right now. Look. It's hard to do with one hand, but you get the idea. All right, actually I need to put it back on because I need to figure out my tab dimensions. Now we just need to make our mounting tabs. They need to be 2 inch by 2 7/8. welded. All right, we got the bar in and fully mounted up. Used M8 rib nuts, M8 bolts. Super, super sturdy. I've got to oblong one of those holes. The drill pushed the piece over while I was drilling through it, so it drilled it a little bit off center. But anyway, super stout. I was able to get the radiator back just a little bit. I always had a problem with the fan wanting to hit the crank pulley. Now I've got like a solid 1/4 inch between it because I'm actually able to really tighten it down. We're gonna put some rubber here and we need to paint it, but I don't have paint right now, so we can't do that right now. But yeah, it's super sturdy. I definitely think I could freaking jack the car up with this thing if I wanted to. It is really solid. Shakes the whole car, so I'm happy with that. If I ever drop the ramps off the trailer again and land on my radiator support, shouldn't damage it. I'm not gonna say it won't because then it will, but I mean, definitely much, much sturdier and honestly easier to deal with than the other one. No nuts and wrenches, just zap, 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 pull this thing out. So sweet. All right, well, it's dark, it's late, stores are closed. So tomorrow morning I'll go get paint it, and we'll do other stuff that we need to get done. All right, got a couple coats of paint on the bar. I taped off the underside there because I'm gonna glue some rubber to it to seat against the radiator so it's not metal on aluminum rubbing around, give it some isolation. But yeah, while we're waiting for that to dry, made sure it all fit. Move on to the next project. I don't know what that is, probably steering column. All right, just gotta go back up top, fold the column the rest of the way out. All right, column is out. For those of you who saw the drift event video, the comp video, you can see that's where the motor goes in, right there. And then it spins, boop, like that. It's like a gear reduction setup, so there's still gears in here. So there's still, it's not much resistance. There's still more resistance than there would be in a stock normal column. So yeah, let's get this thing stripped down. Nothing's wrong with it. It works fine. It just doesn't, it's not a great setup for drifting. Yeah, what a mess down here. I gotta clean this up. This is the control box. There's this potentiometer where you adjust the stiffness basically. It seemed like if I turned it down, it would self-steer slower, but felt more normal in drift. Turned up, it would self-steer a little better, but feel weirder. I think really ideally, if you were gonna run this setup, the way to do it would be make it like OEM. So factory, this that's going to this potentiometer would be a CAN bus signal from the ECU, which would be taking the data from wheel speed and all this other stuff, interpolating that into an output, sending that to this to change the stiffness on the fly. But obviously that would be very difficult to set up, so we're not going to be doing that. But that would definitely be the way to go. Before we mess with the steering column anymore, I want to go ahead and get my radiator bracket done. I got this super weld. Not do the best job cutting this, but be alright. Alright, so we'll let that dry, then throw this back in. there's the finished product. We got our rubber insulation, we got paint on it. I rounded off the corners of the mount brackets just to make them look a little nicer. Not that it matters, but made me feel better. Sweet, okay, cool. Now we can go back to the steering column. I just really wanted to get this thing in and finished up. Looks nice, should be super stout. Like I said, should even realistically be able to at least jack the car up from the corners. There's a lot of support here. I'm not gonna jack it up from that all the time, but you know, if I'm in a pinch and I can only get to the front of the car, something happens, at least I'll have something up here I can use. So we've got another stock normal steering column here. I wonder, oh yeah, I can't even turn this. I can't even hardly turn this with my hand right now. Granted, I did put the motor back in, but this spins no problem. So this is an NB one. I'm gonna try to use it just because of the way it mounts up with my aftermarket dash bar. It'll be easier. But huge shout out to Ben's Used Miata Parts. Such a handy convenience to have a Miata Parts superstore in the shop. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, no problem. Soon we have LS parts.
I know, that'll be real exciting. Okay, let's get this. Andy, what? I don't know what you need, dude. You just keep yelling. I tried petting you. You just want to show me your trick? Is that what it is? Yeah, all right. Well, I'm watching. Good job. All right, I got the column bolted in down beneath. That used to be such a pain when the steering shaft was binding on the bushing on the firewall, which you haven't been around that long. That was the first issue we had with this car. First event out, the car just wouldn't self-steer, kind of like it was this last event with the electric steering. And I thought I just needed to get used to it and yada yada. It was low on caster, and then the biggest thing was that where the steering shaft goes through the firewall, there's a bushing there, and my steering shaft has to be offset to clear the header. Well, I was binding really hard in that bushing. So anyway, it used to be such a pain to get everything to line up, and now with the bracket bent over at offset and that bushing not there, slides right on. But I didn't have it bent over enough because this is a new unbent bracket, and it was kind of a pain. Moral of the story. See what this thing's like with the bigger wheel. Wow, this wheel feels huge in here. So there's a lot less resistance in the steering shaft. Oh, I gotta bolt this thing up pretty close. That was just totally random, and it looks pretty close to straight. I think the big wheel might solve our problems. I have to drive with it, but you know, give us a little more force. I'll probably take this spine quick release off and run the normal one, which should bring the wheel forward a little bit more. It's a little close right now. A few more things and we can go drive it and see how it is. I also want to weigh the front wheels compared to my three-piece wheels, see what the weight difference is, because during the event, during the comp, I switched to these front wheels, and well, before the comp, and I was driving better afterwards, but it was also like my fourth run with manual steering, so I was also getting used to it, because obviously I'd really like to run my nice three-piece wheels. So anyway, another project out of the way, moving on. I took another trip about 10 feet over to Ben's Used Parts and picked myself up a taillight. I need to try to find a nicer one or get a good pair, because my left one I replaced because the old one was real janky, and it's really nice. It's like brand new looking. But the one I'm about to put in is a little faded in comparison. I need to try to get this off. I I kind of like it as a battle scar, but at the same time, kind of looks lazy. Good riddance. Anyone want this? All right, well, we're not done with this thing. There's still some things to fix and some improvements I want to make, but we're pretty much out of time for today. I need to get the FC in here, get the last couple things done on it because we're going to take it to its first time drifting. We're going to go drift it for the first time. So I'm real excited about that. But yeah, last thing we need to do, change out these slightly worn tires for some good tires and go take it for a drive. See how it drives. I've drifted it. Driven it around the pits, but I haven't like driven it on the street with the manual steering, and I want to see how it feels. Anyway, I just want to drive it. I want to see how it is. So let's get these wheels changed. Looks like we can do the old snapperooski. Man, I love these three-piece wheels, these Heritage Suzukas. That's the only bummer, and the only thing that's hanging me up from just being full tilt, gonna do manual steering is I probably need to run a smaller, lighter front wheel, like a 15x7 lightweight wheel with like a nice light tire to optimize the manual steering, which means I can't run my nice Hot Boy wheels. And same with the steering wheel. Instead of my Vertex wheel, I gotta get some other wheel. So Hot Boyness is the one thing that's holding me up. But I'm not that, I'm the type of person where function is always more important than form. So I think you can guess where I'm leaning on that. But anyway, tires are on, car's on, let's go drive it. I need to get some mirrors that work and don't move around so much. Really not bad at all right now. Bigger wheel, the normal column, it's really not heavy. Feels a lot better than before, but who knows? Like I said, I only really drove it friggin' to and from the grid. Something loose in the rear. I think it's my diff. One of the bushings split. I'm pretty sure it's the diff bushing. So I don't want to beat on it and drop the diff out of the car again. That would suck. Steering wheel's nice. Might be a little too close, but not bad. I'm good with it. Definitely want to at least try another drift day, drift event, whatever, with it like this. Bigger wheel, no power steering, etc. Quarter throttle in third. Oh, this car, man, it's got such good brakes and all the stuff that makes it a nice car to drive around. Oh. Trying to be super smooth with the clutch. Kind of like the 350 though. The reason I put a 330 in it was I tried a 350 and with the door cards, it felt like really too big inside the car, but without the door card, it feels fine. All right, well, a lot of the main stuff is fixed on the LS Miata. Like I said, still want to make some improvements and try to make the car better for next round, but I definitely think we're going to try the manual steering out for a little bit. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the improvements, but for now, we're out of time. So that is going to be it for this one. I'll see you guys for the next one, RX-7 drifting. Should be really fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.